I am vengeance.
Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? This town needs an enema.
Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Come on. Do it. Do it!
In today's video, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the official runtime of The Batman, as well as some new story details that director Matt Reeves has revealed. It's not anything that's going to ruin the movie for you, but I just wanted to make sure that people watching this video knew in case you didn't want to know. Plus, at the end of the video, I will reveal my personal theory about the Riddler character that is contained within this movie. So full warning, just in case this theory does end up being true, I don't want you coming back here and blaming me for spoilers.
Fool this man!
Okay, so it's been revealed that the runtime for The Batman clocks in at 175 minutes, which is just 5 minutes shy of 3 hours. Now I can hear all the complaints already because I know some people have short attention spans these days. And also, apparently people can't control their bladder for a 3-hour period of time. As far as people saying that this movie is going to be too long, I strongly disagree. It's not always the case, but I think typically when a movie has an extended runtime, it usually means good things for the story.
No shit.
Sometimes you just can't tell a proper story in 2 hours' time. And I'd rather have a complete version of the story than a choppy version with everything cut out of it and then it becomes incoherent. And we know WB is good for that sort of thing. People may not realize this now, but there was a time when long movies were kind of the norm in Hollywood. In fact, a lot of the greatest stories ever told have 3-hour plus runtimes.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
If you remember, people complained about the runtime of Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, and that was on Netflix and you could pause it anytime you want to. So whether it's streaming or theatrical, I just think that people like to hear themselves bitch sometimes. To me, the 3-hour runtime goes a long way to inspiring a bit more confidence in this movie moving forward. Matt Reeves has also revealed some details about the story recently, and he kind of elaborates on the dark detective noir story that he vaguely spoke about in the past. And he again proclaimed that the film boasts a narrative that is very similar to a horror movie featuring a serial killer. That alone makes me say take my fucking money.
I'd buy that for $1.
He says, quote, "The idea of a place that is corrupt and you try to swim against the tide in order to fight against and make a difference is quintessential Batman." I would agree with that. In fact, it sounds like he nailed the whole general idea around the character just with that little overview.
I like it a lot.
He goes on to say, and that's why he is the world's greatest detective. And so this story, in addition to being almost a horror movie, and a thriller, and an action movie, at its core, it's also very much a detective story. I mentioned in my trailer reaction how it looked like they were taking aspects of all the different incarnations of Batman that have already existed, and kind of putting them together and trying to create the best version of the character yet. Now, I'm not saying that this version of the character is going to be perfect, but I do see elements of Christian Bale, I do see elements of Ben Affleck, and I see elements of the Arkham games. And I think it's a smart approach to take all those elements that worked before and then add the detective element on top of it.
Because it's all part of the plan.
Because that is one aspect of Batman that hasn't really been addressed in any of his live-action incarnations. At least not to the extent that it's addressed in the comics. He is the world's greatest detective after all, and he should be portrayed as such.
Then I gotta get detectives, see? Detecting shit.
Yeah, I figure shit out. Matt Reeves went on to talk about how the Riddler is very much inspired by the Zodiac Killer. As a person who has advocated for a long time for David Fincher to make a Batman movie, this is music to my ears. Because this sounds in line with what I would expect from David Fincher should he have made this movie. The general idea in this film seems to be that the Riddler is killing prominent figures in Gotham. Basically, the pillars of the community.
If he dies, he dies.
Matt Reeves says, quote, "He, being the Riddler, reveals the ways in which these people were not everything they said they were." This is definitely reminiscent of the class warfare angle that is typical in Gotham, and was also predominant in The Dark Knight Rises as well as the Joker. But it feels like the Riddler may be punishing the elite for unknown reasons, and that would include the Waynes.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Now this is where I'm going to start in on my theory about the Riddler in this movie. To be clear, this is not official or confirmed, this is just my thinking. And again, I just want everyone to be warned, just in case this ends up being true. Because you know I'm gonna brag about that shit. Still here? Okay. I am not sold on the idea that this version of the Riddler is actually the Riddler, meaning Edward Nygma, or in this case, Edward Nashton. Because everything that they've shown us about this character so far feels more like Hush to me. Now, it could be that the creative team took some liberties here and created an amalgamation of the two characters.
That makes sense.
Maybe it was just done to give the Riddler a more updated and sinister look and personality. But everything about this character, from his wrapped head appearance to his possible personal connection with Bruce, makes this feel like Hush. It's insinuated in the trailer that he knows a lot about Bruce Wayne, and maybe even that he's Batman. So who would know this much about the Waynes, as well as having a wealth of knowledge about the Gotham elite? Nobody more so than Thomas Elliot, aka Hush. In the comics, he was born into wealth, just like Bruce Wayne, and he was actually a childhood friend of Bruce's. Tommy had a genius-level intellect, which allowed him to plan things very strategically. And we've seen a little bit of that in the trailer from this character as well. He's essentially the anti-Bruce, because yes, he grew up with the money, but Tommy's relationship with his parents wasn't as healthy as Bruce's.
I hate my father. I hate my life. I'm gonna go pick a fight.
Tommy eventually has resentment towards Bruce because of how Bruce's life turned out, which again gives him motives against the elite. Tommy was also cut off from his own family fortune, which would again make him jealous of Bruce. It should also be noted that the Riddler and Hush actually joined forces in the comics because of their common hatred for Batman or Bruce Wayne. So is this character of the Riddler in the Batman a combination of Hush and Riddler? Or is this just a swerve from the filmmakers and he ultimately ends up being Hush? And if so, does that mean there is a more traditional Riddler out there in this universe somewhere? I guess we'll have to wait until March 4th to find out. So let me know what you thought about all this in the comments down below. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time right here on Real Shift. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Y'all be cool. Right on.